Finally, here we are only a few hours away from Super Bowl 59 between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. If you want to look at the projections of where things land, if you look at it from Microsoft, you look it up online, it's a 51 to 49% towards the Chiefs. And if you look at for the score that we're using here, we back out same thing to a 1-point favorite for the Chiefs. And if you care about for betting for the total points, it is set at 48.5 for the total for the whole game. And we're also going to get into my thoughts on the game and who's going to win it ultimately at the end. So going into this is a kind of polar opposites in a way, almost a similar type of matchup as we saw last year. You have the Chiefs that struggled offensively for most of the season up until the playoffs, really. They just scored the most points in the season a couple weeks ago in the AFC Championship game, but besides that, really struggled to put things together offensively. Defense was, again, the driving force and a big part of it, just like last year, and you see that no different from this year. And they're going to the Super Bowl facing a juggernaut, if you want to say quote-unquote, like the 49ers. They had a star-studded cast, elite running back, great pieces around the quarterback, good offensive line, great defense, and they found ways to win in overtime and to win their third championship. And they're going into the same matchup once again. We have the Philadelphia Eagles, who have a star-studded cast, with their driving force being Saquon Barkley, the 2,000-yard rusher, Offensive Player of the Year, and he's going to have to play a pivotal part in this one, no doubt. And you look at the defense, though, they're not the defense they were in 2022 in that Super Bowl matchup when they were, I think, top 3 all-time in sacks, when they had over 70 sacks in a season, including postseason, I believe, as well. And they ended up, losing in that controversial ending, if you want to say, the pass interference, but a great back-and-forth game, high scoring. I don't know if it's going to reach that height of that once again. I don't know if it's going to be that high score. I think it was like 38-35, the final score. It's really going to push the Chiefs offense to the brink. It's going to push them, no doubt. It's going to be the toughest matchup defensively for them. Nick Fangio's done a fantastic job with this defense. Great drafting, no doubt about it. Probably one of the bigger names they've brought in was in the draft class was Cooper DeJean. That really helped with that secondary. You have a lot of people stepping up like Jalen Carter. And you have Graham, who's coming back for the Super Bowl matchup, has been out for a while. So, again, a huge star-studded cast. You have a couple of people missing from the previous matchup, or previous Super Bowl matchup. You have, Fletcher Cox is not there anymore. Hassan Reddick is not there anymore. And a few other pieces aren't there, too. But you also have still people like Darius Slay, Gardner Johnson, and so forth. I think Jordan Davis, I believe, was part of that team as well. So again, you still have a lot of familiar faces from that last Super Bowl matchup and new faces as well that bring a different element to this defense. And this is gonna be a pretty tough matchup. No question about it. It's gonna be. I'd be very shocked. I don't think it's gonna be like the Chiefs lost to the Buccaneers where they got blown out. It's gonna be I think probably similar to what we saw last year. I mean, not high scoring. Would I not be surprised if both these teams reach over 30 points? No, but I think it's going to be similar last year. It's really going to be a tough chess match, especially with both defenses, who can prevail, Nick Fangio or Spagnuolo. That's going to be, I think, the really big key of what's going to happen in this game. But before we dive any further, we're going to look at the stats and where they rank in terms of offensive defenses for both teams. So we look at the offensive stats, again, it's very glaring all across the board. The only thing that they do exceptional is the third down percentage, and that's also going to be, no question, that's going to be the big factor going against this defense. You have to convert on third down. You have to, for the Chiefs' perspective, they have to get into third and short. Once you get the third and medium, third and long, I mean, Patrick Mahomes can do his magic. He can still make plays, as we've seen countless times, but you don't want to keep putting yourself in that position, especially with this defense that really attacks you. Really, you got a lot of great pieces on that side as well, especially for the secondary, who has stepped up and really improved much better than last year, and we'll get to that in a second when we look at the defensive stats. But that is the big thing right there. You have to stay at 48.5%, which is second in the NFL. Outside of that, it's pretty abysmal. You look at yards per game, ranked 17th, passing yards 14th, rushing yards 22nd, points per game 15th. So I don't know if I think abysmal might be a little too harsh. I guess you could say that in terms of what the Chiefs offensively used to be. They are middle of the pack for the most part. Again, you look at the years past, it is abysmal for their standard, but it's okay middle of the pack, and we've seen that throughout the whole season. They've just been struggling to score points. It's tough for them, but when they have to, they find ways to do that. As opposed to the offense, You look at it's a complete opposite. Outside of passing yards, because they don't pass on pass a lot because of we'll get into the rushing stat in a second. They rank fifth in the NFL in yards per game. They rank 29th in the league in passing, second in the NFL in rushing. Points per game they rank tied for 7th, and third down percentage 10th in the NFL. So both these teams top 10 in third down percentage, and it's the same way for the Eagles. I would say that as well. I mean, the defense is. It's gonna be tough for Nick Fangio or for Spagnuolo and that team. He really knows how to scheme things up and really knows how to bring pressure when need be and calls the right plays. So that the flip side as well is Jalen Hurts in the offense is really gonna have to really bump that number even up. They're gonna have to match the Chiefs at this point for going from 41% to 48%. I mean, that's not a big difference, but one or two third down conversions could be the game right there. You look at the passing yards; it's certainly abysmal at this point, almost almost dead last in the NFL, approaching that with only 187 yards passing. But you look at the rushing, that's huge. MVP caliber, Saquon Barkley, Offensive Player of the Year, no doubt about that. He is going to be the driving force, and you have to still stick with that. He has the capability of giving you those home run plays, and you're going to have to really bank on it. He gave you at least one or two in this one. Maybe not both of them go for a touchdown, maybe one's a touchdown, the other one's just a huge run that sets you up in the red zone. That is definitely going to be key in this one. For the receiving wise, I put more emphasis on Devontae Smith because you have McDuffie, who's going to be, I would presume, is going to cover A.J. Brown for the entirety of the game. He's going to try and follow him, put your best corner on him. That's a no-brainer. So it's really have to be Devontae Smith who steps up in this one and attacks the second corner for the Chiefs and really has to make big plays. And he did show that in the Super Bowl matchup a couple years ago, though there was that controversial catch that they got off before it got reviewed or challenged, where it showed that he stepped out of bounds. But he still made plays throughout the whole game, and he's got to do that similar as well as AJ Brown, no doubt about it. He made big catches, contested catches throughout the game as well. But I put more emphasis on Devontae Smith because he's really going to have to put that pressure on Spagnuolo to not only worry about A.J. Brown be the number one undisputed wide receiver on the team, but he's going to have to try and spread this defense out and try and cover two players, which would certainly open up the rushing attack for Saquon Barkley in this one. So those are the offensive stats per game. Now we're going to the defense, and again, they're both top notch, no doubt about that. You look at the yards per game for Kansas City, 8th. You look at the passing yards, they're 18th. Rushing yards, 8th. Points per game, 4th. Third down percentage, 26. And I know that's horrible. Again, similar suit as the passing yards for the Eagles. But this team finds ways to win. And we see that every year in, year out. Spagnuolo and his defense, this whole team entirely, steps up their game and find ways to be clutch and make these key plays. And you saw that in the AFC Championship game on 4th and 5. They brought a corner to blitz Josh Allen. It disrupted him, and he had to make almost kind of like a Hail Mary throw to Dalton Kincaid, who had an opportunity to catch it, but was just affected by it, and that ended up winning the game. And also made other plays as well that disrupted that Bills defense or Bills offense early on in the game that kind of set up for them to win at the end. So that's, I kind of disregard the tie for 26 for third down percentage because Spagnuolo is going to throw everything at this offense. He's going to find ways to disrupt Jalen Hurts and maybe throw things that they have not seen on film. So I kind of view that I disregard that 26 because this team really steps up when they have to, especially defensively. So no question they're going to be a tough team. They're going to be similar to Philadelphia in this regard. You look at the flip side for the Philadelphia Eagles. They are first in yards per game, first in passing yards, like we talked about with the secondary, 10th in rushing yards, points per game. They are second, and third down percentage third. Again, absolutely phenomenal, and it's similar to the dominance of the defense they had a couple years ago in the Super Bowl, like we talked about. Especially in the front four, the sack percentage was immense, one of the best all time, but they just couldn't get it done. And this is going to be a tough game. No doubt about it. Throw everything away you said when I talked about offensively for the stats. It's going to be tough. They are going to find ways to make plays. Patrick Mahomes is going to find ways to evade the pressure and make the plays. These guys are going to get open. No doubt about that. But it's that third down percentage is key. Like we talked about with the offensively, they have to find ways to get them off the field and push them to third and medium, third and long. You cannot get this team third and short because they can open the playbook easily, and it's just going to be easy. It's going to be routine for this offense for Patrick Mahomes to get the first down every single time. You have to really lock down and you have to get the pressure. And you saw that really with the Houston Texans, where you had Anderson and Hunter really disrupt that offense, as opposed to in the AFC Championship game when the Bills defense wasn't able to get that pressure there. You're going to have to get that with Jalen Carter, with Graham, whoever you want to throw out there to get the pressure. It has to be pivotal for them to do so in this matchup. And it's again, it's basically similar to what we saw last year in terms of the matchup and how things were, and as well as their first go around between these two teams. It's, you gotta learn from mistakes, and no doubt, I think the biggest key is Nick Fangio. He's done well. I think statistically, I heard, I don't have him on the screen right now, but they were going through, this on a radio show, they were talking about the stats for Mahomes, the offense, how it is much lower, as opposed, especially in the red zone, as opposed to other defensive coordinators that Patrick Mahomes faces. So Nick Fangio kind of has ways to slow down, and kind of has ways to stifle his offense. That is key. He's going to have to, again, especially on third down, that is the big key on this. He's going to have to push him to third and medium, third and long, and get that pressure there and disrupt Patrick Mahomes in his reads and what they want to do. No doubt about that. So, with all that being said, again, those are the stats offensively and defensively. A couple players that I think that really need to step up for both sides. You look at the offense for Kansas City, it's going to have to be Xavier Worthy. I think he was absolutely phenomenal in the AFC Championship game. They really maximize what you see in the future with his speed and his elite speed, almost basically a Tyreek Hill. Don't want to call him officially Tyreek Hill because he's leaps and bounds better right now, but he has a capability. He has the elite speed. He has elusiveness. He can break away from defenders very easily. They're going to have to use him in a similar suit in this defense. He is a game wrecker with that speed he has, alongside with Marquise Brown on the other side, who's still getting into the rhythm of this offense. But that's going to be huge. I know it's a lot of pressure for Xavier Worthy at this point because he's not the, I want to say, true undisputed number one wide receiver and the person you want to rely on, but he's got to step up in this one. Again, he has the speed, he has the capability, like the players from years past, and even on this team too. Again, Marquise Brown has a similar skill set, so I really put the emphasis on Xavier Worthy, and they have to really scheme him up and put him all over the place. Motion him, get him screen passes, short passes, get him on the deep routes. That's gonna be key. Try and spread that defense out and open things up for other people like Travis Kelce, Marquise Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, and so forth. Another person I would say is DeAndre Hopkins. He really has not done too much in the postseason. I think he has only 18 total yards in 2 games in the postseason. It needs to be better. This is a guy who they brought in to be that kind of clutch, experienced wide receiver that kind of puts him a little bit over the top. I know he's getting up there in age. He's not the DeAndre Hopkins as he used to be, even though he had a 1,000-yard season just a year ago. But he's got to really step up and make plays. Again, I mean, I don't want to say he's been here, he's done that. He really hasn't had that much playoff experience being with Houston, Arizona, and Tennessee, of course. But he can still get open. He can still make clutch catches and great plays here and there. They're going to really need that with alongside with Xavier Worthy. These are two players that really need to step up on this offense because we expect Travis Kelce to make plays. We do expect Kareem Hunt that he has a pretty good season, over 700 yards rushing. I think he's going to do his job and what they ask him to do. So I trust Kareem Hunt. I trust Travis Kelce. Even I trust Marquise Brown to make a few plays here and there, but it's really going to have to be Xavier Worthy and DeAndre Hopkins for me, offensive, that's really going to step up for them. You look at the other side for the Eagles. I mean, again, what I just talked about a few minutes ago with Devontae Smith. They're going to put a lot of pressure. They're going to put McDuffie on A.J. Brown. It's up for Devontae Smith to really put the pressure on this defense and make Spagnuolo really put the emphasis on two receivers, and that would once again open up things for Saquon Barkley and make it much easier for them to run the football because they have struggled as of late to stop the run. We saw that in the last few games with Joe Mixon, James Cook, where they've gotten a decent amount of chunk of yards per run when they have to, and Saquon Barkley is, of course, we would say leaps and bounds better than those two. You got MVP type of caliber running back, 2,000-yard rusher. He's a home run hitter, and they have a great offensive line. So all you have to do is you have to really open up the passing game and spread that defense out, and it would make it much easier to get those 1 or 2 home run plays for Saquon Barkley. Defensively, I mean, it goes on, what we just talked about for AJ Brown. Trent McDuffie's really going to do his job and cover AJ Brown. That is not going to be a easy task because of, again, just the size difference as well. But I mean, we've seen the contested catches and so forth from AJ Brown from years past. Even in the first Super Bowl matchup, like I talked about, he needs to really step up and really lock down AJ Brown and make DeVonta Smith earn that as well. I mean, it goes both hand in hand as well. Even though I just said DeVonta Smith has to step up, AJ Brown also has to make those plays well, because I think he can take advantage of Trent McDuffie. Even though disrespect to McDuffie, he's an All-Pro corner, one of the best in the league. But I do believe, especially for the contested catches and jump balls, I think AJ Brown has that edge, and he's going to have to make those big plays, no doubt. Even stretch the field. He had a couple deep catches in that Super Bowl as well, for the one for the touchdown. So for McDuffie, he has a big task on him. Again, AJ Brown is one of the best receivers in the league. There's going to be a huge emphasis on that, and they're going to try and get him the ball early and try and make plays, try and scheme up things for AJ Brown. It's up to McDuffie to really stifle that and kind of slow that down for him. The other thing too is obviously Chris Jones, that defensive line. He's going to have to really disrupt that like he did in the AFC Championship game with the kind of tush push and other aspects of it, and really try and make Saquon Barkley earn those yards. And all he is, I don't want to say you have to stop him, you just have to slow him down just for a second so other people can get there and get the tackle. That's all it is. You just have to make him hesitate. You have to make him stop for a second and have your reinforcements go and grab him. You cannot have him running freely as he does. And that's going to be a really big chess match, I think, as well. You really, for the Eagles' perspective, if you neutralize Chris Jones, you make that defensive line a lot worse. Not to say they don't have playmakers on that side of the ball, but Chris Jones is the driving force in that side of it as well. So you really slow down Chris Jones, kind of like an Aaron Donald. You really control that defensive line, no question about that. And it's even the flip side for Philadelphia. Jalen Carter is going to be that he has to step up as well. They're going to take full advantage of this. Patrick Mahomes again is fantastic. Is great at getting the ball out fast, evading the defensive line. So Jalen Carter has to be the disruptor he has been and step up and make those plays, and he has the capability of doing so. But if that's going to be, the chess match is there. Both those defensive tackles right there, Jalen Carter and Chris Jones, they're gonna have a heavy input on the defensive line and what they're gonna be able to do. I do side with the Philadelphia having a better defensive line overall than the Kansas City Chiefs. I give them the slight edge for that, but I mean those two are really gonna make or break how the defensive line plays and how they control the line of scrimmage right there. And also too, just the secondary, like I said, they have speed. On the Chiefs side, it's not elite players. Like you're not facing a Justin Jefferson, a Tyreek Hill, a Jamar Chase on that side, but you have to respect the ability that they have, and they can open things up. Like I said, they elevate their game in the playoffs. So it's up to Cooper DeJean, Darius Slade, all those guys back there to really step up and make these plays. Try and force a turnover to on Patrick Mahomes, if that's even possible. Mahomes has been a lot better at protecting the ball as he was early in the season. So that is a tall task to get, but someone has to step up and make a play in this one. And finally, my prediction. I really want Philadelphia to win. I think on paper they have a better team than what San Francisco had last year. They kind of replicate themselves or mirror themselves pretty similarly, but I think I'd give the slight edge to the Philadelphia Eagles in that side, especially offensively because of the wide receivers. I think no doubt you would take AJ Brown and DeVonta Smith over Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, or whoever you want to pair as the top two wide receivers. So again, I like what they have. I like what they have offensively. Great defense. But I just feel like it's once again going to be what we saw the last 2 years. We've had stacked teams go against the Chiefs, and they find ways to, or I should say not lose, but the Chiefs find ways to win this game. It's just it's wishful thinking. I want Philadelphia to win this, but being objective and taking a step back, I just think it's going to be another case of the Patriots early on. They just find ways to win, and I think it's going to be the same suit for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're just going to find ways. They're going to find a way to win. Mahomes is going to find a way to make the right throw, the right play. Spagnuolo is going to find the right defensive play to call to disrupt Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley, whoever it may be, maybe force a turnover. And I think it's going to be a similar game as we saw last year with San Francisco and Kansas City, a back and forth chess match, but just ultimately Mahomes steps up and makes just a few more plays more than what Jalen Hurts is going to do. So I do think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think it's, or not low scoring, but decent, a decent scoring game. I don't think it's going to go over 30 for either team. I'm going to say 28-25. The Kansas City Chiefs pull this one out and get that three-peat, the first team in NFL history to do so, and who knows what happens after that in terms of legacy. I mean, that cements themselves as probably the best the best dynasty of all time for accomplishing that, and they're not done. So again, I do predict, sadly for maybe a lot of people out there, that we will see Kansas City win their third straight Super Bowl and get that three-peat, and then we have to hear about it for months or years on for that. So hope everyone enjoys the Super Bowl. Hope, for both sides, Eagles, Chiefs fans, hope you get your outcome that you want. Or if you're not a fan of both of them, hopefully it's exciting if you do decide to watch this year's game.